lost my employment because of the COVID-19 pandemic. What good of what good has come out of the pandemic for you? Probably nothing, right? Well, because I was so comfortable and I had been at my employer for 6 years, it was very hard for me to take a jump from that and want to do something else, want to pursue my dreams, want to do something better for my family. So I stuck it out. I was with my job for 6 years, loved it, great atmosphere, good pay. The schedule was grueling at times, but I did the best that I could with what I had. Then came March the 25th. That was the last day that I was employed. When this happened, we were in a limbo of furlough and unemployed, so it still gave me hope that we were going to be going back to work. Did not happen. Later on, a couple weeks later, about April the 6th, we got official word. Our office was shuttered. We had lost our jobs, had nothing else to do. So this was an employment of 6 years that I had built on, was able to sustain my family, didn't really have to be too worried about paying the bills. And my 3-year-old was in daycare, my 9-year-old was in school, everything was great. Then came, like I said, the pandemic. When that happened, I started to think about what else I thought about for myself. I had always thought, probably most kids do, about being a teacher. You know, you have your stationery, your pencils, your crayons, and you play with your friends, your cousins, and it's fun. But I thought, I've always loved to do that. I've always loved to be very involved with my kids. Why not look to better myself, continue the education that I left off many years ago, and pursue that career that'll make you happy? Well, that's what I'm doing now. I am looking to be certified for an educational aide with Houston Independent School District. The reason that I chose this district is because this is where my kids go. My daughter, we lived in the area, and my daughter has been attending there since she was in pre-K, so she's technically been grandfathered in. And I love her school. I love the community, I love the staff, and it's amazing. So for an educational aide, there are some requirements. So we would need to be high school graduates or have a GED. You also need to have, you don't have to have some college, but they do look for that. So having some college, definitely some experience with kids is also a plus. If you have the childhood development and early childhood education classes under your belt, great. Better pay, better position. So I am looking to become an educational aide, and hopefully that's a stepping stone for me to eventually become a teacher. So there are many demands for it. Texas, California, and New York are the greatest, have the greatest number of employed elementary school teachers. And that lets you know our biggest cities have the biggest demands, our biggest states have the biggest demands. So there's always a demand for teachers. Education can only get better, and that's the basis for our community, it's the basis for our country. Houston Independent School District does not specifically require previous work experience, but of course it's always a plus. So their starting salary is at about $19,000, and there's always room to grow, always room to make more money. It can always be better. I also wanted to touch on the benefits. A lot of people might think, oh my goodness, you're going to be tied up with students, you know. How many of you feel that way? I know I do sometimes. Trying to virtually teach my 9-year-old has been hard, to say the least. It's a learning experience for me and for her, but that patience that goes into it, that spending time, it's been amazing. That's one of the greatest advantages and benefits that I see to changing my career. I think that I've made enough sacrifices in the last 6 years that I was employed to where I can now say, okay, I'm ready to take a step back. Money was really good, helped pay the bills, but it did take a lot of time away from my kids. I spent a lot of family vacations where I couldn't travel because my schedule was so demanding. Decembers were always, hard, and it's so demanding. I worked for a loan company, so it's pretty much you have to be here. People need money. We need you here. That's how it is. I had to do it. Got the bills paid. We did it. With all those sacrifices, that's my biggest advantage and takeaway from changing my career. I do want to become a teacher. It'll give me more time with my kids. My kids will get to stay in HISD since now we live in a different district. And it'll cement our bond. It's been amazing to be home with them. It has been challenging at times, not gonna lie. Many of us moms feel that way. So it has been a challenge, but my relationship with both of my daughters is that much better. There is, I guess you could say, a silver lining that comes out of a bad situation, and I'm attempting to make the best of it. I do want a career change. I am going to be an educational aide for Houston Independent School District, and hopefully that's a stepping stone. Get some experience, get some more education, and hopefully become a teacher one day. How many of us can say that they've lived through a pandemic and came through to the other side with bigger and better opportunities? I have. Thank you.